Hey friends, it's Raj back here with you with this Xaviere Pro 840 T-style guitar, Telly style guitar. I've done a few things. Let me just play a second. This is on the clean neck sound. It's a Helix patch, kind of a bastardized Michael Britt patch here. So. So you can hear, after that fairly aggressive monkey type stuff, it's staying in tune pretty well. So let me go over what I did to the guitar to kind of get it in the shape that it's in right now. I scuffed up the pick guard quite a bit because I was getting a lot of the staticky stuff that you sometimes get from real sticky, slick pick guards. Sometimes you get a static pop anytime your hand touches. And I'm not getting that anymore, so that's a cool thing. Something that was fixed anyway. I actually sanded down the headstock, the face of the headstock a bit. I just, the logo is huge. It's actually a pretty, I don't mind the logo itself, but it's just very large. So I took that off. I replaced the string trees. They had 2 string trees here, and man, they were just way too close to the nut for me. Made the break angle massive, and while I guess in theory that's cool, just in terms of getting to the truss rod, and I think, overall tuning stability, there's just so much pressure, downward pressure there, that I wasn't feeling it, and it was just kind of weird to me. So I replaced the string tree with a different one actually. And anyway, tuners I haven't done anything to aside from just kind of tighten up the ends a little bit on the ones that were loose. They're okay. There's still a lot of slack in a few of them. I would probably, if this was going to be my gigging guitar, yeah, I would probably replace the tuners. On the nut, I gave a little bit of love to each slot, just to make sure there were no kind of things left behind from the manufacturing process. I didn't do much else. I didn't do any nut sauce or anything like that, so it's holding tune pretty well for that, especially given the quality of the tuners kind of being a little bit iffy maybe. I didn't do any fret work aside from go over the very edges with the file like once or twice just to knock down anything that was left over. It wasn't too bad, and now it's pretty smooth all the way down. Nothing hurty, which is good. I haven't replaced any hardware aside from that string tree. The short of it is this. This is an okay pickup. It's warm. It doesn't really sound like a Telly. I've done a lot of work here just to get it in Helix to this patch, just to kind of get it sounding a little more Telly-ish. And it's still lacking some bite on that like snap. It sounds okay. Just wish there was a little bit more snap. And it may not even be something that's terribly noticeable on the video or even on the audio that I'm recording for it, but there's definitely a difference between this and like my number one, which has a luller in it. And of course, those pickups cost as much as this guitar, so you can't place blame. I will say I really dislike this pickup. I'm not going to change anything, right? This is a fairly warm sound. Here we go. Man, ice pick, just 100% ice pick. And even with compression and trying, you would have to have, in my opinion, if you were going to do some chicken picking, you would have to have a whole different amp setting to make this workable. If you're using Helix or any other modeler, or you have a massive pedal board, you can kind of make any pickup that's not broken sound okay with a lot of stuff, but it's really hard to balance these two out in that regard. I stay in the neck most of the time, so you know I can whatever. If I was going to play this, I would replace the tuners. I'd have to replace this as well. You'll hear this. Can you hear that? Let's see here. It's not so bad at the moment. There's no real shielding going on. I took this off and looked underneath. There's no shielding at all happening on the pig guard. So you can spend a couple bucks and probably shield it a little bit better, but it's not terrible. You know, I'm sitting in front of a monitor, so it is what it is. My take overall, to make this thing not quite the epic adventure that some of my videos are, is that it's pretty good. It's pretty good value. The only reason I might not keep it around for me is that it's all fairly like normally sized. I think you could replace most things. I tried another pick guard. I'm going to replace this pick guard with make it black on black, and that'll be cool. Bridge, you know, everything, even the size of the neck and the pocket, you can replace with a fender or anything that fits a fender. However, the holes on this plate are not standard fender spacing. It's smaller all the way around. It's actually, I think it's the same height, but it's narrower. So you would have to, if you put an existing neck on this guitar, you would have to fill and drill new holes, and I'm not really down with that. And I do change out necks all the time, so I'm not sure how useful this is going to be for me. If I can't do that, that's my big gripe. That may not matter to you at all. And so I'd say, you know, you've got quite a few choices in this price range. And you've got pretty much everything from Harley Benton, from Thoman's site. And I've got a couple of those guitars, and I like those a lot. For the price, they're actually cheaper than this. This is a couple $100. Those are like $130-ish. You can even get one for $80 from them, which I don't have. But so, and I actually took one of the Thomans, the Harley Benton, the Black Paisley, on tour, and drop my pick. For a season, just to see. I was just curious, man. Can I do this with a $130 guitar? And it was fine. By the end of the tour, I'd lost one of the ferrules had fallen out, and I had replaced it with just something I had laying around. But it made it through. It was fine. It took the beating pretty well. This is what I'll say about this one compared to like the Squire. I own one of the Squires, you know, cheaper series, not the CV stuff, but the cheaper series that I've done mods to. I was able to get this action, what I would consider more playable, certainly lower than where those guitars are set up right now, without any fretwork. If I'm going to try to make this like a guitar that I use most of the time, I'll definitely spend a little bit of time. There's a little bit of, you know, string rattle, which doesn't really bother me, man. You know, that depends on your thing, I guess, but a little bit of rattle. Not bad at all. So I'm fairly impressed. It's a fun guitar. The neck is not terribly thin. It's not chunky, but it's got nice shoulders on it. So, you know, it's probably a modern C, but, you know, feels good. Feels better than my Squire. It doesn't feel as good as my more expensive stuff, but it's smooth. It's a nice finish that they chose. However they did it. Let me put a little dirt on here. This is in Helix. This is Heir Apparent. That's the Heir Apparent in Helix. This is the Minotaur in Helix. So, you know, playing fairly aggressively and still in tune. That's like that's a pretty big thing for a guitar that's cheap. Took a little work to get there, but I think that kind of needs to be a given if you're looking at guitars in this price range. You're gonna have to do a little bit of, give them a little love before they're. It's one of the biggest places they can save money is to not have a human being actually do a ton of setup and work on these things. So if you're able to do it yourself, then you can get away with a guitar. You know, if this was my only telly, I put the money in tuner and another pickup, and maybe even a pickup from Guitarfetish. You know, one of their more expensive pickups. This is the whatever they have, the switch. I'll put the name of it up there. I can't remember the name of it, but there. Quick plug. That's the name of it. This is a quick plug. I think it's probably their cheapest quick plug tele pickup. So you could even get away with one of them a little bit more upgraded pickups and have it sound a little bit more telly like. This one I think you're gonna definitely have to replace, but it might be the same situation. So you could spend another $50 on top of the 200, and I have, I think, a very, very playable guitar as long as you can do a little bit of work. That's my 2 cents, you guys. So happy playing, and thanks for watching.